Well, I actually believe that leadership is about authenticity. That if you persuade people that what you're asking them to do is what you believe in, then it's much more powerful. And what a leader needs to do is to be strategic and to be able to persuade other people to follow him down the strategy or the path that he or she suggests is appropriate. But if you aren't there with that authenticity, you'll be found out, and people won't be persuaded to go along with you. Oh, me, I'm inspired by my mother. My mother was, in the 50s, taught women to work. Not because they were poor, not because they were alone, but because they had a brain, and they should use it, and they should make their own money, because money is independence, and she thought women should be independent. And she worked for my whole life, and she expected me to work and supported my ideas, suggested sometimes when I was going in the wrong path, and I have such tremendous regard for her. She always had good judgment and could sort of see what was the right thing to do. Well, I try to do what my mother did. I try to speak with, particularly I'm interested in women. So I do a lot with women. I advise a number of companies on women. I speak with small groups, large groups. I mentor a lot of young women, not a lot, but some individually. But I've spoken to, I've probably spoken to 2,000 women since I've lived in the UK. And I do it all the time. I just did it yesterday. And I talk to them about the things my mother did, about how you have to have a career, some lessons. Mostly I talk to them about my mistakes. The bad things I did, the bad luck I had, the mistakes, all the things that I hope other people will learn from because it's too late for me. I must have been about 12. I came home from school one day and said, well, you know how it is that people are always asking little children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was certainly that way. And when I used to say an actress, because I was in the school plays, my mother, upon hearing that, said, we are not having any starving actresses in this family. If you want to act, act in front of the jury. Go be a lawyer. Sounded like a good idea to me. Nobody had ever heard of women being a lawyer, so I said it, and I kept saying it until I ended up in law school. Truly, I'd only known about lawyers from television. But it turned out to be a good idea. And I did practice law for some period of time. I became a partner in a law firm many years ago when there were very few women. And I have a good basis in how to learn, how to think and how to learn. First of all, I look to see how they did in school. If they did well in school, it's because they worked hard. And my first and most important criterion is somebody willing to work. Work is a privilege as far as I'm concerned, and you have to learn it from the bottom. So I'm looking for somebody who understands that you have to work your way up. You can't just arrive and be a boss. Then, of course, I'm looking for intelligent people, because I believe that if you're intelligent, you can learn anything, if you put your mind to it. And then good chemistry. People who are friendly and nice and not rude and abusive, can criticize, but in a nice way, but are strong and thoughtful and hardworking. My advice would have been before university. My advice would have been to take science and maths, particularly maths. Women that take maths earn 1/3 more during their life than women that don't. Not the same for men. I would learn maths, I would learn science, I would go to a company, and I'd be on a track which was on the business side, on the profit and loss side, running a business as an executive. Not human resources, not strategy, not staff. I'd want you to be on the side of the business. I want me to be on the side that makes money for the company, not that spends money for the company. And I would, when anybody asked me what I want to be, I would say I want to be the chief executive, of course. Well, we're trying very hard. First thing we do is we want to get them in the building. So we changed the dress code so that you don't need a tie, you can wear jeans, you can use your phone in any room, you can put your computer in any room so that it's a place that's welcoming. Second of all, we have this program called IOD 99 where we have young people who are starting businesses, who come in for £99 in the first year, so it's not a difficult proposition in terms of money. And we encourage them to work with each other. We encourage it to be a co-working space. We have events for them. And we support them with knowledge, with education for directors. I mean, that's what we're part of, is our director education. And with networking events so they can meet each other. And we're very, very keen. Well, it's the art of the possible. I mean, if you don't see somebody in a senior job, then you never think you can get there. And if you do see somebody, then you think you can get there. It's totally one-to-one. And once you think that person is there, well, why couldn't I do that if that person's there? Well, they did all this, they studied, they did, well, I could do all that. But if there's never a woman up in those senior ranks, then you don't even think of it. You don't even ask the question because you assume it's not for you. So the more women that are around, the more ordinary it becomes to climb up the corporate ladder or to do anything you want to do. It becomes not a specialty. It becomes, instead of being a woman, you're a person. And that's what's very important. Well, I'm totally a believer that we need nuclear, that it has to be part of the mix. That whatever you think about sun and wind, and certainly we all believe they're a good idea, it's just top-up energy. Sun and solar energy works when the sun shines. It's not shining out there at the moment. It works when the wind blows, but it doesn't work 24/7, so you need baseload generation. Now, when Hinckley was thought of in the beginning, I was chairman of the Atomic Energy Authority. The price of oil was up here, and nuclear was a low-cost alternative to oil and gas, which didn't emit carbon and could run 24/7. Life has changed. The price of oil is down here, and Hinckley's quite expensive. It's taken a long time to get it off the books, off the stocks. But I still believe in it because A, it'll create 25,000 jobs, which is around here. B, we still do need baseload generation. C, the price of oil gyrates, so it may be down here, but it may by then be up here. And I also believe that for the UK, it's a big project that we're doing with an EU country, especially after Brexit, an EU country and a non-EU country, that is France and China, and that's a good way to show that the UK is open for business. It may be an expensive project. It's definitely different economics than it was when we started, but I think it was a good idea. I totally support the Prime Minister. I think she was right to step back and relook at it, put some conditions on it. I think all of that is appropriate, but if you asked me whether I would go for Hinckley or I wouldn't, I definitely would.